So depending on what your territory map looks like, ours looks like this. Not a lot of territories got taken on Tuesday because the top alliance on our server did what we sort of expected them to do. They showed up to every one-star system. They wanted to get the SMS done, according to them. Um, the side benefit was is that they kept everybody else from getting any territory. So they showed up to the first 4 or 5 territories on Wednesday morning, afternoon, and won them all. They just won, dropped it, moved to the next one, joined that one, dropped it, moved to the next one, for the first 4 or 5 to get them done and out of the way. So a bunch of the first territory captures essentially got wasted because they just got dropped immediately afterwards. As the day went on, they stopped doing that and they kind of settled in to a territory. Actually, are they even in a territory right now? Yeah, they're down here. Okay. Um, so now it becomes, where do you need to be in order to expand into a 2-star territory to have, the opportunity to get a 3-star on Saturday. And unfortunately for a lot of alliances, you're going to run into an issue where, you know, the 1-star that you took, that you ended up with, the 2-star that it connects to, that's going to give you your path into your 3-star territory, well, this takeover doesn't happen until Sunday. And all of the 3-star territories takeovers all happen on Saturday, which means that most people are not going to have a 3-star territory this weekend. They're going to have to wait till Sunday, claim the 2-star territory, and then wait 6 more days to then claim the 3-star territory afterwards. Very, very tedious and very annoying. The other thing is it seems pretty obvious that this Trailblazer SMS, which awards points for spending time in an active takeover, you don't have to win, you just have to float there, is going to basically run every week. It's a 6-day event. It started Wednesday morning. There are no takeovers on Tuesday, so there's no point in making it a 7-day event. So this will basically run from Wednesday until Monday, and then it seems likely that this will just continue to start over. Will alliances continue to do the drop and move method? Probably not after the first week or two. Probably not once people start settling into their territories. But once again, since the territories are going to get completely reset every 3 months, those first 2 to 3 weeks are going to have very little of a footprint for a lot of alliances on the map, which is just going to make territory conflict all the more tedious. And the rewards for it aren't even all that great. What about the territory above Brelin? If they had gone this way to Bertho, this one happens in an hour. We're still US time. So they may still join this one in time. And they likely will. And they'll take this one and work their way in through here. But there are some other areas in the map that are similar to that. Like if you're trying to get to, like, Tholis, for example. Well, Tajera just happened. Nobody took Tajera, so now they got to wait a week. And if we want to claim Abalak to move this way, well, we have to wait until... Actually, this one's on Monday. They have the same problem. They have to go through Abalak here. Somebody would have had to take Tegan. When was Tegan? Nope, Tegan's tomorrow, so you couldn't even take that one. You would have had to take Adia yesterday. Take Adia yesterday, hold it, move to Tajera, and then move to Tholis. Because even Anzat, I don't think... Anzat is happening next. But, again, depending on which one of these you would have had to get to first, you get the point. This one's not for 3 days, so that's not until Sunday. And Tazalka's tomorrow. Yeah, so again, there was the only path into Tholis would have been holding Adia yesterday, taking Tajera today, and then getting Tholis on Saturday. But Adia was very early in the day on Wednesday when that whole, situation was happening. So didn't know they run local time. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean they run EU and US and APAC all run at different times. That's respective to their regions. Like when I'm playing on my EU account, all of the takeovers are like 6 in the morning to like 5 or 6 in the afternoon. So I'm either sleeping or at work, unfortunately, for most of those. That's a good start. All part of their plan to make it better. Hey, Deathblade, what's going on? Now, the rewards for it are the other thing that some people are unhappy with. Obviously, it's the first, rollout of this. Top half here, you get these chronometric particles. This is what you need to do the research. The amounts are fairly low, and obviously it's going to take a while to accumulate the amount of points. Because if you're doing this particular event, what are we getting here? 14, 10, 20. You're getting about 40,000. Let's do it. 41,000, we'll call it. So that's how many points you're getting per week is 41,000 points. That'll get you to milestone number 2. So you get about 2 milestones a week. Maybe you'll get to milestone 5 by the end of week 2 if you finish everything both weeks. You should have just enough to get there. So yeah, you're going to move about 2 to 3 milestones per week. And the amount of these chronometric particles that you're going to get from the top half, the free half, are not all that great. Very small amounts. The other thing that people have been pointing out that they're not happy with, some of the officer shards that are sprinkled in. Andy Billups, awesome. Thank you. Oh, by the way, for some reason, the chronometric particles are the hidden ones. 8 trial bells, that's kind of a weird number on some of these nodes. So these are some of the things for some of the new forbidden techs, which aren't bad. But again, these are just small little fractions that are going to take a while to source. And then you get Kurla shards. Then you get Gorkon shards. Like, why these officers? They're such random filler / throwaways. Some of the easiest officers to source in the game. These are some of the first rares and epics that somebody brand new to the game would unlock and or level up because of the abundance with which they're provided. And considering that anybody below Ops level 20 doesn't even get this option, I don't think. I certainly don't on my Ops 15 account. It's like, why are you even involved in territory conflict? That this would even be like a good reward for you. The bulk of the chronometric particles are all to do research that's level 40 plus. And I get not wanting to lock in all the prizes to only people 40 plus because then it doesn't incentivize the people who are in their 20s and 30s to participate as much or buy the pass. But I also don't think giving out Gorkon and Kurla shards also incentivizes people to invest in this type of stuff either. So, a Ta'ana, okay, that's something. Another way to source a handful of these, new officers that are being released. Maybe some artifact tokens to get a pack pull. Okay, sure. More Gorkon shards? No thank you. What'd you get this week? Well, I got 2 Gorkon shards and, 80 chronometric particles. Can you do any research with that? Not really. Yeah, event reset. Oh, well, event reset for me is at noon. Because that's universal. What was I just going to look at? One Gorkon shard, huge. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to look at. That's what I was going to look at. I was going to look at the new research tree to see if I can even see what some of these researches cost. They are galaxy researches. No, I'm wrong. They're territory researches. I'm in the wrong tree. All right, so the first level here for this one costs 40. So let's go to stfc.space research schematic revisions. Let's look at this new research that's right here. All right, right off the bat, level 1, 40 chronometric particles. And if we want to start tearing this up, well, fortunately, the amount of chronometric particles needed are fairly low each time. Now, you're going to need to do some other researches and stuff along the way, but it still seems like the number of particles is really low. 40, 40, 45 for a couple levels, then even 50 and whatnot. So large amounts of particles don't seem like they're going to be necessary to do some of these new researches, which I guess is a good thing because the sourcing for them is also really slow. Yeah, obviously it's in the territory tree because that's what we're talking about. I'm having a weird day. All right, what's here? There's one. Let's go hit that one. How much time we got left? 17 minutes. Okay. If you want to upgrade your Sarco, yeah. It's still going to die. Now, for the people who aren't able to claim territory, one of the easiest ways to get points is just to join one of these one-star territory takeovers and then just park a cloak ship or two in there for as long as you can, because you get points based on time that you spend, and you get 120 points per minute spent. Now this doesn't score in real time. Your points don't accumulate until you leave the system that you were in. So if you warp to another system, you return to base, if your base was in that system, or you get blown up, that's when your points will register. Even if the territory takeover ends and you're still there just floating, your points won't accumulate until you actually leave the system that you were earning those points in. Now at 37440 divided by 120 points per minute, I need to spend 312 minutes total time in territory takeover, which would be about a little over 5 hours, right? Just over 5 hours of total time. However, you get points scored for each ship that you have in that territory takeover. So if it happens to be one that you are actually, claiming and aren't being contested in, or you've made an agreement with an alliance not to contest it with anybody and kind of make it a friendly takeover, like, look, we're going to let you win, just don't kill any of our ships. We're just going to pile a bunch of them in the corner and get some points, which is what some alliances and some servers have had to do to work their way around this. You do get, so you need 300, I need 312 minutes total. Well, if I park 5 ships in there, well, now I can divide this by 5. Now I only need 62 minutes. That's like 2 territory takeovers. As long as my alliance is participating and actually has joined the takeover, I can do it. If it's more of a hostile contested takeover, cloaking is probably then your best bet. And people have been, talking about different options. The Amalgam seems to have one of the longest cloaks in terms of value. I saw people who had their Amalgam cloaked for over 20 minutes, 20 to 22 minutes. If you also have the corresponding research, I think that boosts your cloaking time. That's in the Galaxy tree, which is where I was thinking about going earlier. Yeah, this stealth technology, which gives you a higher cloaking rate for all ships, and then you can boost it even further for Klingon and Romulan ships if you have uh, anything for cloaking for those. It doesn't apply to the Amalgam, but any of your other faction ships, you could boost them up a bit and cloak them for longer periods of time. The Also don't want to forget about officers. If we sort by name, we all know that we love to use Bator on the Amalgam because of her officer ability here, which gives you the big loot extra bonus. But her captain's ability increases the duration the ship can stay cloaked by 20%, and then when you tack on some synergy to that, it makes it even higher. So you can put her with synergy on a cloaked ship, and some of these ships have very long cloaking times. Like I said, people had their amalgams cloaked for 20, 24 minutes, and were able to just sort of sit there and, hey, get some points, get on the board, get a milestone or two done of this event. Even if you are in a territory fight, you're not going to win. You just park it next door, cloak, warp in so you don't get hit as soon as you warp in, and then just hang out for 10, 15, 20 minutes. The problem is sourcing the amalgam cloaking, which can come through the amalgam tab. Obviously takes a while, but you can acquire it through here. You're looking at a grand total of, what do you need, 80 for this? So 4 pulls. That's actually not bad at all. That's about 2,900 of these things total to unlock the amalgam cloaking skin. Or possibly through your next event store. So, if you can get in, because the system could be full, that is a thing too. Systems being full will definitely be a problem. You can try and warp past it and then hit stop. Sometimes that gets around that. Like if I'm trying to warp here and that system's full, I can instead warp, to the next system. And as I'm moving into this one, hit stop, and it will stop my warp path that was going to run through it instead. Doesn't always work. The lag can sometimes be an issue too. But that is another way to work around that a little bit. It's per minute per ship, absolutely. That's what we talked about. Yep. You want to do the research to upgrade the Sarco? I still don't think the ship gets much better. It gets more mitigation, great, but, it still has lots of issues. You need the cloaking for the Sarco too then, right, to get it even on the node, because the thing is so slow. As soon as it comes in the system, everybody just goes and kills it before it gets onto the node. Is it worth getting the amalgam cloak over the ship skins and projectiles? I mean, depends how often you have to use your amalgam. It did certainly pick up some value. It's also going to depend too, is how this whole territory thing shakes out. If over the next couple of months, once people settle into their territories, you probably won't need it as much. Where it's going to have most of its value doing this strategy that I'm just talking about right now is going to be in the first week, maybe week 2. It might carry over to when alliances, when the board gets reset every 3 months and alliances are trying to get their foot on the door and get some points and things like that. And, the top alliances are kind of dictating who's going to get what, who's going where, or we just want to win and get all our people their SMS done on the first day. If you have alliances like that on your server, you're going to need to find a way to get some points. This could be a way for you to get some points and not have to try and get them all on, Sunday or Monday before the event ends. Also, the ability to have your amalgam cloaked can be helpful in other situations, but it's not as practical of a thing. It doesn't have as big of implications. If you're distance rating in territory, sometimes it can help. if you're trying to avoid, you know, your amalgam getting picked off as it's flying through the system toward your opponent's base. And it's kind of sad that people have to resort to tactics like this. You can do it with other ships. My pylon was cloaking for about 15 to 16 minutes with the research and with Bator and her synergy crew. So I was getting about 15 and a half minutes or so out of my pylon that way. So ship skins took longer than the cloaked. That also seems likely too. The ship skins seem much more expensive in the refinery ace. That's a good point. Amalgam. So like the ship refits, you need 80 of these. So it's 4 pulls there. So that's 7,200 just to get these very weak that are kind of even outdated now at this point. You know, for your G3 ships that take a really long time to accumulate. The projectiles, you need what? This boost your penetration stats by 20% when you've got so many other things that boost penetration and boost mitigation. This isn't much of an impact anymore. And the fact that you need 75 shards, which basically means again about the same. You're spending about 6,000 currency to do it, whereas the amalgam's only costing you just shy of 2,900. So you're certainly going to get the amalgam's probably the one you can get the fastest, boosting weapon damage by 10%. No, no, thank you. That's like one tier on a number of buildings is probably more than 10% at this point. So some of these projectiles are very outdated. They were fine when this was released like 3 years ago, but now with the power creep in this game, they really are very minuscule adjustments. Valiant's rating in with 7 people. Thank you very much for that. That apparently Stream Elements works for that one. Good evening, Raiders. Welcome on in. Hopefully you had a good stream with Valiants over there talking about some Star Trek Fleet Command stuff. We are just talking a little bit about territory capture over here and, you know, how bad the territory season pass thing is. Now, the other thing to note, I've heard some miscommunication about this. This thing goes for 88 days. So it's a full 3-month pass. This TC season premium reward thing that you have to buy, the regular one's over here for 50 bucks. If you want the elite one or the regular one, we can look at those in a second. They also have an 88-day cooldown on them. So you don't have to buy at the end of this month. You can literally wait until Christmas and then, you know, see how far you get, how many points you're able to accumulate through the weekly SMSs, how far along you're able to get here, and then be like, okay, you know, we made it 23 milestones. Well, okay, is everything that's in here now worth my 50 bucks? Now we're talking about the bottom half here having significantly larger amounts of these chronometric particles. This is, you know, 4 or 5 levels of some of the researches right there in one node, plus the forbidden tech components in here that'll probably let you finish some of this stuff off. I don't know why there's pattern buffers in here. That's always, again, just another throwaway thing that they like to just put into places. Boosting your armory, that can help you level that up faster. You've got some rare Dominion solo Armada credits, as well as a handful of the new officer shards. So again, depending on how far you get, you might get, maybe you need 10 Curler shards. No, you don't. Nobody needs 10 Curler shards. 22,000 Syndicate XP is not bad, though. And it looks like this is probably the rest of the implants out here in milestones 28 and 29, which, if you're getting 2 to 3 milestones per, well, actually, we can figure this out. 486,000 points is what you need. We'll round that up. We'll say 487. And what did we say we were getting here? 40. So you are literally talking about, if they are all the same, this was what, 41,000 points? So 10 weeks gets you 410,000 points. Then you get the other 2 weeks to get the other 80, which is just enough to basically finish this. Yeah, you have to finish the SMS every single week for all 12 weeks in order to hit this. You might have one extra week because it's a 3-month thing, so you're looking at like 13 weeks realistically in a 90-day period, right? Yeah. But if you miss anything, you're not getting the last milestone. You can still get the 29, possibly. And then you've got these new forbidden texts, which aren't bad. They are indeed not bad at all. If we go look at the ones that are being sourced through there, it's the cybernetic implant. Mitigation stats for 3 rounds when you're attacking stations. You get a huge mitigation boost when you're attacking stations. You get more hull health. This is all about station combat. And then you also get the Orion Cargo Transporter, which gives you more base cargo, more protected cargo. If you're the Amalgam, you get an even bigger boost, and you also get a bigger boost to the Amalgam's ship ability as well to help out with that high level rating. So Season 1 is interesting. It's interesting. If your alliance isn't allowed territory, you can't join half the takeovers. That's very true. You would just have to join the 1-star takeovers and then just float your cloaked ships in there or run some Rialtas around for a couple minutes and put speed crews on them and just try and avoid people. The lag's going to get pretty bad with that, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Or maybe you guys, somebody says, you know what, it's fine. We don't mind if you set up a small little corner in beta. We're gonna control all the nodes. We're gonna win the takeover, but we don't mind you getting some points. Just park some ships over there and don't attack anybody. And kind of cooperate like that in order to let people finish their SMSs, or at least get some of the brackets done. So